Hello everyone! As of today, the Russians are trembling in fear of a new wave of offensive operations by the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Because autumn is the time for powerful advances, and it seems that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are preparing for it. Yesterday evening, they struck Tokmak and Berdyansk. There are no details yet, but it's clear that the occupiers are not having an easy time there. However, they continue to shell along the entire front line and try to hold their defense. But the Ukrainian forces are gradually moving forward. Although it should be acknowledged that there have been no major changes along the front line for several days, only tactical successes. But it seems that everything is going according to plan. Today, the Ukrainian armed forces have done the main work regarding breaking through their defense. There is very little left, and they will have access to operational spaces. Perhaps that's why today the occupiers claim that, according to their intelligence, the Ukrainian forces will launch a powerful offensive because the front line has been practically breached. If the Ukrainian armed forces start moving a large amount of equipment through this section of the front, the occupiers are guaranteed to lose their defense. Access to operational spaces will allow for significant advances. In general, let's not speculate for now, but we're eagerly awaiting new, powerful movements. Friends, before we continue, I would like to ask you to share this video on social media and watch it to the end. It will greatly help promote my channel. Thank you. Meanwhile, in the Kherson direction, shelling continues for now, but if there is success on the Zaporizhia front, the Ukrainian armed forces may suddenly start advancing towards Crimea. This would seriously shock the occupiers and lead to an uncontrolled retreat, often referred to as a goodwill gesture. Moreover, the increased strikes on the Crimean Bridge are not without reason. They aim to disrupt the supply of weapons to Russian forces. In the Vuhledar direction, there are currently a significant number of shelling incidents, and the Ukrainian armed forces briefly report that they have entered the village of Zavitne Bazhanya. We are still waiting for official confirmation. However, an escalation of the situation is expected here in the near future due to information about possible Russian offensive actions. They have deployed tank units which could indicate upcoming attacks. For now, the front line remains unchanged and the situation remains stable. In the Kupiansk direction, there haven't been any attacks for over a week. The town of Sinkivka remains under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, and only sporadic shelling is reported. It appears that the Russians still lack of necessary forces and resources to conduct significant offensive operations. Meanwhile, in the Svatovo area, the occupiers are still struggling and attempting to capture Novoselivsk. Their efforts in Novoyegorivka have been unsuccessful, so they've shifted their focus to another settlement in hopes of a breakthrough. However, the Ukrainian armed forces are doing everything they can to maintain their defense at every point along the front line. As it stands, the front line remains unchanged. In the Kreminna and Siversk direction, there have been numerous shelling incidents, but no offensive actions have been initiated. The Ukrainian armed forces are also maintaining a defensive posture, with no new movements reported near Kreminna, and shelling remains ongoing. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation remains highly challenging. The occupiers continue their attempts to push Ukrainian forces away from Kurdyumivka and Klishchiivka. However, these efforts only result in significant losses, and the front line remains unchanged. According to information from the Ukrainian armed forces, some Russian positions are still being captured, albeit gradually at a tactical level. So preliminary data suggest that approximately 800 of Klishchiivka is under the control of the Ukrainian forces. The situation remains dynamic and could change for better or worse, so we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, the Russians have decided to strike Kramatorsk. Now a rocket is stuck right in the middle of the strait. Overall, as always, the situation remains fluid. In the Avdiivka direction, the situation has somewhat stabilized with no new offensive actions reported. The occupiers continue shelling Avdiivka and other towns near the front line. Further south in Marinka, the battles have temporarily ceased, but there are ongoing attacks on Krasnogorivka. Ukrainian forces are successfully holding their defense in this area, and over the past day, the front line remains unchanged. Also, President Zelensky has stated that there can be no peace in Ukraine without the return of Donbas and other occupied territories.
Або без Донбасу, без наших окупованих територій, справжнього сталого миру в Україні, а це значить і на всьому європейському просторі не буде. Подивіться, будь ласка, що відбувається, коли Крим контролює Російська Федерація. Чи є там цивілізація? Ні. Чи є там туризм? Ні. Чи додалось там робочих місць? Ні. Чи прийшов туди бізнес?
So we await the liberation of all territories from the occupiers without exception. Also, I think everyone remembers that talks about the Lend-Lease aid promised to Ukraine for victory. However, as we can see, things have been quiet, and there have been discussions about so-called aid packages instead. To understand the scale of the Lend-Lease aid provided to the Soviet Union by the US and the UK during World War II, let's take a look at this information. It's evident that the Soviet Union won the war largely thanks to Lend-Lease, with over 12,000 tanks provided, while today Ukraine has received a little over 300 tanks, and that's from all allied countries. This contributes to the prolongation of the war. Even considering the current conditions of the conflict, Russia cannot advance further. There is a significant internal divide within Russia. There is also a video showing what the memorial at the site of the Prigozhin plane crash looks like. I don't think Prigozhin envisioned such a memory of himself. It's clear that everything related to the Wagner Group will now be erased from Russia's history forever. Also, Mikhail Podolyak mentioned that the Ukrainian Armed Forces reaching the Sea of Azov will determine the course of the war.
Россия находится в восторге, если она может на 100 метров задержать продвижение украинских войск. И, безусловно, как только мы выйдем на рубежи Азовского, например, моря, то изменится диспозиция с точки зрения того, что будет происходить в Крыму. Мы сейчас уже, если исходить из слов господина Буданова, в огневом формате контролируем территорию полуострова Крым. Как только мы добираемся до акватории Азовского моря, ситуация по линии фронта полностью меняется. И тем не менее, наши ребята находятся уже на первом эшелоне, внутри первого эшелона и продвигаются, собственно, по тем направлениям, по которым надо. Поэтому, это первое, уничтожение сил и средств Российской Федерации идет эффективно. Второе, проникновение на линии обороны, которые масштабные, массированные и так далее, случилось. И третья составляющая, это говорит о том, что Украина не собирается там замораживать что-то, не собирается разговаривать с этими.
As we can see, with each passing day, things in Russia are getting worse and worse. But how else could things be in a country where influential pro-war figures are making significant profits from advertising while covering conflicts on social media, as BBC has discovered? Alongside their daily dose of horrific drone strike videos and false claims about Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, they also share advertisements ranging from cryptocurrency to fashion. Since the full-scale invasion in February 2022, influential pro-war figures have gained millions of followers on Telegram, a social network that many Russians turned to after President Vladimir Putin banned Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. This surge in Telegram users led to a boom in the advertising market on the platform, which military influencers have capitalized on. So they sell advertising space to companies looking to reach their young audience. To find out how much they charge, members of the BBC's global disinformation team posed as hotel owners interested in advertising on their channels. One of these influencers was Alexander Kots, a veteran war correspondent for a government-affiliated newspaper who became a military influencer with over 600,000 subscribers on his personal Telegram channel. So Alexander Kots mentioned that it would cost 48,000 rubles, around 70,000 pounds sterling, for a post on his channel, depending on how long the ad remained at the top of his Telegram feed. The global disinformation team of the BBC tells the story of social media influencers who profit from war propaganda. The growing market for content from these influencers is supported by a steady stream of exclusive videos. These videos attract a diverse audience, from the domestic pro-war audience to Western and Ukrainian analysts trying to understand what is truly happening in Russian trenches. However, some videos posted by pro-war bloggers are fake. So in March of last year, prominent influencers, including Alexander Kots, posted a dashcam video that allegedly showed two Ukrainian soldiers stopping a car with a woman and a small children. So the militants in the video referred to the woman as a pig for speaking Russian and threatened her. So that bloggers claim that the video was a perfect example of how Ukraine treated civilians. But when geolocated, the video turned out to be from Makivka, a city near Donetsk. This territory in Ukraine has been occupied by pro-Russian proxy forces since 2014. It's impossible for a Ukrainian soldier in uniform to operate in this occupied territory. Furthermore, the use of dashcams is illegal in Ukraine, as this ban was introduced after the full-scale Russian invasion to keep troop movements secret. The cross on the vehicle in the video differs from the one used by the Ukrainian Armed Forces. All of these elements indicate that the video was staged. And that's all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.